We'll take questions for Coach. We'll start with Christian.
Coach, what's the message for the team going into Wednesday's game? I know it's got to be difficult with the layoff, not having a game in 2 weeks, and then not being able to practice until Saturday. So a few days of practice, luckily it's at home and you don't have to travel. But what is your message going into this game?
My message is just trust your teammates. We're going to have to do it in numbers. That's our strength. Our strength is numbers. We have 10 or 11 guys that we can go to, so you don't really have to play a lot of guys a lot of minutes. And we're going to have to do it by committee. And that's my message to the team.
Cassie?
Hey, Coach, with the season winding down just about 2.5 weeks in the regular season, do you foresee a window where you could try to reschedule most likely the Wichita State or Houston game?
It's just up in the air right now. I'm hoping to get one of those for sure because those are quad ones, and we're trying to do that. And, Laird is doing a great job with conference. So I'm hoping to get, both Houston's games, hopefully, and the Wichita game. I'm very hopeful.
Danielle?
Kind of to piggyback off of that, how much at this point are you looking, at not only the conference standings, but at the net rankings and kind of thinking about the postseason implications of these last few games?
I'm thinking about all of those, honestly. I mean, you have to look at the conference because we're right there at the top. With us beating Wichita, we definitely want that game, another game, because they just beat Houston, and we're hoping to make up that other Houston game. But we're looking at that, and nationally, that's what they're saying. They're only giving us a one-bid conference, and you got to beat Houston, and they are the bar. So I'm hoping to get all of those accomplished with playing Houston twice and hopefully getting the Wichita game back.
If for some reason you guys aren't able to make the NCAA tournament, but you got an invite to the NIT, would you play in an alternate postseason tournament?
I'm not sure. Honestly, Danielle, I'm really not sure. I'm just locked in right now, but I'm not sure if we would accept it or not, honestly.
Terry?
Hey, Penny, being away for 10 days, man, your guys' minds can wonder how hard or easy to get them back focused on what they need to be focused on.
Well, you know what? Before we went out, we were starting to hit a groove, and the guys were very disappointed when obviously all the COVID situation hit. But they stayed close-knit. They stayed in tune, group chats, Zooms, things like that they could stay, engaged in what was going on and not lose focus. And when they came back to practice, they showed that they wanted to be locked in, man, and they're hungry.
Jason?
Hey, Penny, just making sure I heard you right. You said everybody, players and coaches, everybody will be available Wednesday?
Yes, we have everybody available, coaches and players.
Was there ever a time where you thought that might not be the case, where you thought you might have to go shorthanded?
Yeah, for sure. Before the COVID hit any of the players, it was just GAs and managers and a couple coaches. And, we still had enough at that time, but then as we kept testing, contact tracing, and then more guys got to the positive in the COVID test, and it just wouldn't work. But I thought at one point that we were going to have to go play without a couple coaches and, the GAs, but the team would be intact, and it didn't work out that way.
How did you were you caught up in the situation, I guess? Did you?
No, I didn't. I never caught it. I'm knocking on wood, man. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. But no, it was unfortunate how our team got hit by it, but I never caught it.
And then so far, since you guys got back to practice Saturday, have you noticed has there been any conditioning issues or, any lingering effects of those, from those people who did have it?
I think from everybody, the lingering issues of just being off for 10 days. They were very winded in the sprint work that we were doing and getting up and down. But you can tell that today, since Saturday up until today, it's getting better and better every day.
Clayton?
Hey, Penny, just with the initial pause, if you want to call it, when you had opposing teams all having their COVID issues, I remember you talking about how badly you guys wanted to try to get games in during that period. Did the conference ever give you an explanation for why they didn't schedule games for you guys during that time?
Well, no, they didn't. And we had teams come late. You have to actually schedules have to match. For teams that weren't playing, they had to match our schedule. And we were trying to get Louisville, and we thought we were going to be able to get that and could never get it. And that would have been a good one for us to get. Georgia Tech called one time, but we were already they thought that we didn't have a game, but we had a game. So we had a couple really good opportunities there if it would have worked out, where it would have been pretty fun to play.
Just, I guess what I'm also asking is, like, hindsight's kind of 2020, but just wishing, is it tough not to look back on that and wish that you'd been able to get some of those opportunities in there?
Yeah, it is, because I see Houston is trying to play Western Kentucky and trying to take advantage of games that, that they're trying to make up. It would have been good for us to get a couple games for some quad ones in there, because we weren't going to. It depends on how we finish the season up with our schedule, on how we're going to look.
Danielle.
You guys had a ton of momentum going before this pause, obviously. What's the best way that you guys are trying to make sure that you can kind of reclaim some of that, even though you haven't been, together and on the court for 10 days?
Well, the biggest thing is we've established an identity, and that's our defense. That's our scrambling. That's our ability to be able to get after people and turn them over. So to me, that's just all energy. And I think that we have enough guys that understand how to do that we can get back to form hopefully pretty quickly. Now, shooting the basketball, we started shooting the ball better. So I don't know how that's going to be with tired legs or guys trying to get their legs back up under them. But defensively, I think it's going to have to carry us through. We will accept all made threes, though, during this next stretch.
Terry.
Hey, Penny, what are you hearing about potential makeup days or you being able to go out there and bring a game in if you're not going to make that game up? Because I know you still got that 27-game limit. So what are the rules or constraints that the conference is holding you to, if you can share that with us?
I think they're just trying to make up the games that we have. I don't think they're trying to let us go outside of conference and make up anything because of us being so far behind and missing, 5 games. So I think right now, with a lot of moving parts, they're trying to get us with Houston. Even though we have the game here, we're trying to get there, and we want to go to Wichita State because those are quad ones. But other than that, we're not hearing anything else.
Cassie.
Penny, I know you said that everyone will be available for the game, but when you guys return to practice and up till now, has everyone been back in practice?
Yeah, today was the day that everyone, the final piece, Jaden, my son, was the last person to come in to the fold. So everyone else has been here at least 2 days. Oh, Malcolm's first day was yesterday. So everyone's been here at least 2 days except for him.
Mark.
Hey, Penny, have you spoken to any other coaches who have gone through this previously where they weren't allowed to work out and how they hit the ground running? Or is it just something you can't really, it seems like it's kind of random. Some teams come back and look great and some teams come back and don't look like themselves. Have you sort of picked up anything in terms of if there's a common thread with the teams that have come back and been able to play well?
Just the better teams in the top 25 seem like it looks like a well-oiled machine after being off for a while, because they're really good teams. As far as teams that haven't been winning, that have gone on those breaks, I talked to the Boston College assistant coach, and they've been through this a lot this year, and they were actually forced to play with, I think, 5 or maybe 6 scholarship players and then walk-ons against Florida State or someone at home. They were forced to play the game anyway. So it's just difficult, man, just looking at it. If you're not Gonzaga or if you're not Baylor or those teams, man, it's hard to come back. Even Michigan came back looking great. When you have an identity and those teams have identities, then it's easier to get back to what you're doing more so than any other team.
Have you talked to the guys at all about just the fact that, ultimately, if you can win every game, you give yourself a good shot of achieving kind of every goal you have ahead of you? Have you talked to them about that?
We are very aware. We are very aware. We're very woke at what we need to do, and we are in control of our own destiny. If we could get the schedule worked out properly, we don't have to worry about someone else beating someone else. We just have to take care of our own situation, and we love being in that situation.
Thanks.
Jason.
2-part question. Were there any players who did not test positive?
Oh yeah, there were a bunch of players that didn't test positive for sure.
Okay. And then, but I would imagine they, there was no practice, there was no in-person stuff.
Right.
So what did they do? What did those guys?
They stayed in the apartment. They stayed away because the facility was totally shut down. Totally.
Yeah. All right.
Jeff.
Yeah. Hey, Penny, in terms of being in control of your own destiny, Do you think that depends on getting some of these other games rescheduled? If you just play the schedule in front of you and run the table, obviously not winning through the regular season, do you think you're set pretty well up going into the tournament to make it, or how do you feel? How important is it to get these games is what I'm saying.
It's going to be very important for us to get Houston twice. We want to get Houston twice for sure, and try to get the Wichita game. If we can't get but one Houston game, we'll take the Wichita game. Play Houston and Wichita. But the best case scenario right now, because Houston is top 10, is to get both of those games if we can get that one back in.
Do you have reason to be hopeful? I mean, obviously you're running out of time here, and Houston could have scheduled you this Friday probably instead of scheduling Western Kentucky. Do you have reason to be hopeful here? I mean, or is it just hope?
It is hope. It's just hoping. We're hoping that the conference does us some justice to try to get that game back for us that we missed.
Thanks.